He went 0 for 5, 4 strikeouts, on opening day, in front of the entire baseball world watching on Netflix, the third Yankee in franchise history to strike out 4 times on opening day. And Aaron Judge, the 3-time American League Most Valuable Player, the man who hit 53 home runs last season with a .331 batting average, the captain of the New York Yankees, the most feared right-handed hitter in the American League, walked back to the dugout after his 5th at-bat of the night, with the score already 7-0 in the Yankees' favor and the game already decided, and the 0 in his hit column staring at everyone who covered this team. And then something happened that told you everything you need to know about who Aaron Judge actually is in the moments that matter most. He talked, not defensively, not with the carefully managed language of a superstar who just had a bad game and wants to minimize the damage. He sat in front of the cameras in the visitors' clubhouse at Oracle Park at 11-something Pacific time on Wednesday night and said the exact thing that he needed to say. He said if they are booing him or getting on him, he is booing himself too. He said if he sits there and thinks about the pressure and what he has not done yet, it is going to take him off his path of what he wants to accomplish. And then he talked about a wall in Yankee Stadium, not a metaphorical wall, the literal wall, the one where the World Series championship banners hang, the banners that go back to 1923, that trace the entire history of the greatest franchise in professional sports. And he said seeing that little empty spot past the '09 banner is almost haunting. He said that is what we are chasing, not a contract, not individual awards, not another MVP, the empty spot past 2009, the one that has been empty for 17 years, the one that Aaron Judge was drafted as a Yankee to fill. This is the complete story of what Aaron Judge said this week, in the Kevin Durant interview, in the post-game comments, in the specific language of a man who is 34 years old and running out of time to do the one thing that would make his career complete, and exactly why it matters for what the 2026 New York Yankees are about to try to do. Start with where the fire came from, because Aaron Judge does not usually carry visible emotion about baseball. He carries quiet intensity, the kind that produces 53 home runs and a .331 batting average in 152 games, without the theatrics that some superstars use to demonstrate how hard they are working. He is not a demonstrative player. He does not pump his fist after strikeouts of opposing batters. He does not argue called strikes. He runs hard to first base on routine ground balls and plays right field with the specific professionalism of a man who was raised to treat every at-bat and every defensive play as if it is the only one that exists. That is Aaron Judge at his baseline. And then the World Baseball Classic happened, and the baseline changed. Team USA entered the 2026 World Baseball Classic as heavy favorites. The American roster, which included Judge as captain alongside the best players from every contending American League and National League franchise, was the most talented aggregate collection of United States baseball talent assembled for international competition since the rules changed to allow active major leaguers to participate. They went through the early rounds of the tournament without significant difficulty. They defeated Japan. They defeated the Dominican Republic in the semifinal, the round that sent Albert Pujols' Dominican squad home and produced the specific irony of Pujols watching his former teammate, fellow Hall of Famer-bound slugger, deliver advice about pressure situations from the wrong side of an elimination game. And then Venezuela happened. Team USA lost the WBC final to Venezuela, and Aaron Judge, who had been the captain, the face, the emotional center of a team that the entire country expected to win, went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in the championship game. The captain of Team USA, the 3-time MVP, 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts in the game that mattered most. USA overcome with emotion after WBC defeat. Judge said, "Loved it, but I'm still pissed." Pro Football Network, still pissed. 2 weeks after the loss, heading into opening day of the MLB season, still pissed. not managing his emotions for the cameras, not delivering the graceful loser language that professional athletes are trained to give in the aftermath of competition they did not win. Still pissed. Because Aaron Judge cares about winning in a way that is specifically inconvenient for a narrative that wants to present him as a complete player who has nothing left to prove. He does have something left to prove, and he knows it, and he said it on a platform that was specifically designed to surface exactly this kind of authentic competitive self-assessment. The Kevin Durant interview, Boardroom's cover story series. Durant, the two-time NBA champion, the future Hall of Famer, the man who spent his entire career being told that his championships were not legitimate because he joined a Golden State Warriors team that had already been built into a dynasty, sat across from Judge and asked the question that anyone with knowledge of the pressure that comes from being the best player on the most scrutinized team in professional sports would recognize immediately. He asked about pressure, about the weight of what has not been won, about what drives a competitor who has already achieved everything except the thing that everyone in New York wants him to achieve.
Judge said it was almost haunting. In Yankee Stadium, they do not have AL championships, they do not have all-stars, they have World Series champions, and it is all around the stadium. He said he sees this little empty spot past '09, and he thinks that is what we are chasing, clutch points. The empty spot past '09. 2009 was the last time the Yankees won the World Series. Judge said that is one thing he wanted to do ever since he got drafted. He wanted to bring a championship back to New York and wanted to leave the organization and that franchise better than when he got in there. Clutch points. Leave the franchise better than when he got in there. That specific phrase from a man who arrived in New York as a first-round pick in 2013 and has spent 13 seasons giving everything he has to an organization that drafted him tells you something about the relationship Aaron Judge has with the New York Yankees that goes beyond the contract, beyond the $360 million extension, beyond the MVP awards and the records and the home run titles. He was drafted here. He grew up here as a professional. He became the player he is here, and the franchise that made him, the one that put that uniform on him for the first time in 2017 and watched him win the American League Rookie of the Year, and then watched him hit 62 home runs in 2022, and then watched him win 3 MVP awards in 4 seasons, is the franchise he has decided he wants to define by winning the thing it has not won since the year he was a teenager in Linden, California, watching Derek Jeter celebrate his 5th World Series ring on a television set. Judge told Durant about pressure. It was never any pressure or I gotta raise my standard. My standard is already there. If you guys are booing me or getting on me, I am booing myself too right now. If I sit there and think about the pressure and what I have not done yet, it's going to take me off my path of what I want to accomplish. Clutch points. My standard is already there. That sentence from a player who just went 0 for 5 on opening day with 4 strikeouts is the most important thing said about Aaron Judge's 2026 season before the first pitch was thrown. Not his spring training numbers, not his physical reports, not his exit velocity charts or his bat speed measurements or the analytical projections that have him somewhere between 45 and 55 home runs based on his previous 5-year peak. My standard is already there. The standard he holds himself to is higher than what anyone watching from the outside can impose. When he goes 0 for 5, he's not embarrassed that the writers are writing 0 for 5. He's embarrassed that he went 0 for 5. That is the difference between a superstar who performs for the crowd and a champion who performs for himself. The WBC loss is still in his system. After falling short of winning a championship for Team USA, Aaron Judge will need to turn the page and focus on the upcoming 2026 MLB season. Newsweek. The turning of the page is not forgetting, it is channeling. The same competitive fury that said, "Still pissed 2 weeks after the Venezuela game," is the same competitive fury that will be in his eyes when the Yankees face the Blue Jays in September in a game that determines the AL East title. The same pissed is what you need from your best player when the season gets to the part that matters. And the support structure around that player, the specific roster that Brian Cashman assembled over the winter and that Judge himself lobbied for, is something that the opening day win over the Giants proved can function even when Judge is not contributing. Early on, it was pretty tough to watch. Judge said he was like, "Man, we are the New York Yankees. Let us go out there and get the right people, the right pieces to go out there and finish this thing off. Once we solidified getting Bellinger back, we've got Trent being our center fielder for another year. Then we got a guy like Goldie back." Judge said he believed the roster was set up nicely. Yardbarker. He lobbied for Bellinger. He said so publicly. The 5-year, $162.5 million contract that kept Cody Bellinger in the Bronx for the next 5 seasons is a contract that Aaron Judge advocated for inside the building, that he told Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner they needed to make happen. Not because he's his friend, because Judge looked at the 2025 roster and saw a specific piece that was going to be irreplaceable if they lost it, and replaceable only with someone worse if they had to find an alternative. He was right. Bellinger went 29 home runs and .272 last season. He brought a .909 OPS to Yankee Stadium specifically, the home park effect of the short right field porch on a left-handed hitter who pulls the ball with authority. He's the third best hitter on this team when Judge and Rice are both healthy and producing. He's the second best hitter when Judge is going 0 for 5 on opening day.
Judge went 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts. According to Yahoo Sports, he is the third Yankee to log 4 strikeouts on opening day. ESPN Insights noted he had 0 4-strikeout games last season. Sports Illustrated, 0 4-strikeout games in 2025. That is how rarely this happens to Aaron Judge. He struck out 122 times in 152 games last year, an average of .8 strikeouts per game. Going 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts in a single game is the kind of performance that happens to him perhaps 3 or 4 times in an entire season. It happened on opening day against Logan Webb, the one Giant starter who most neutralizes exactly what Judge does. The sinker that runs away from right-handed hitters, the splitter that produces chases below the zone, the ability to keep the ball in the lower half and generate the weak contact that turns Judge's hardest swings into ground balls and strikeouts. Judge's struggles allowed the Yankees to assess whether their lineup can step up when their marquee star is struggling. And on Wednesday night, it did that. Sports Illustrated. It did that. The Yankees won 7-0, with Aaron Judge going 0 for 5. Grisham tripled. Wells went 2 for 4. McMahon drove in 2 runs. Stanton doubled in the 5th. The lineup that Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone constructed, the one that Cashman said was championship caliber when critics said he did not do enough this offseason, produced 7 runs against one of the most respected starting pitchers in the National League on a night when the best player in the lineup contributed nothing. That is the specific test that tells you whether a roster is genuinely deep or whether it is a one-star show that fails the moment the star is quiet. The Yankees passed the test on opening day without Aaron Judge. Albert Pujols shared advice to Judge on handling pressure moments, the big lead. The man who hit 703 career home runs, who won 3 National League MVP awards, who played 22 seasons in the major leagues, who managed Team Dominican Republic in the World Baseball Classic, who watched Team USA beat his Dominican Republic team in the semifinal, who then watched Venezuela beat Team USA in the final. Pujols, who won 2 World Series rings and who understands the specific weight of being the best player on a team that the entire country expects to win everything, said something about pressure to Judge that the specific details of which have not been fully reported, but the context is clear. One great player to another, about the specific burden of being the one who is supposed to make it happen in the moments that matter,
about how you carry that without letting it crush you, about how you stay on your path when the crowd is booing and the 0 for 5 is on the scoreboard and the WBC loss is still fresh and the empty spot past '09 is right there every time you walk into Yankee Stadium and look up at the wall. People claim the Yankees have wasted Aaron Judge's prime, but every year he proves time and time again that he is just getting started. The three-time MVP led the league with his .331 batting average while hitting 53 home runs paired with 114 RBI. There is not a single person who should worry about Judge's production dropping, currently amidst one of the best 5-year peaks in baseball history compared to the likes of Barry Bonds and Ted Williams. Heavy sports. Barry Bonds, Ted Williams, those are the two names that the analytical community has consistently placed alongside Judge's 5-year peak for the quality of offensive production generated. Not as prolific in counting stats, not as longevous in career length, but as dense in productive performance over a 5-year window, the specific measurement of what a player at his absolute best looks like when the body is right and the mechanics are sound, and the pitcher's eye has developed to the point where every at-bat is a chess match that the batter is winning more often than not. Judge is in that conversation. He has put himself there over the last 5 seasons by doing the same thing every time, showing up, playing hard, hitting the ball as hard as it can be hit, and winning more often than not. WFAN's Craig Carton said if he had to rank in his head who involved with the Yankees needs to win a championship the most, it is not the Yankees. The Yankees have 27 of them, and they are in the playoffs every single year. Carton said it is Judge, Lakers Nation. Judge needs a championship more than the Yankees need a championship. That is the specific framing that the media around this team has been applying to the 2026 season since November. Not wrong. Judge is 34. His window, the specific intersection of physical peak and competitive opportunity, is not permanently open. The contract runs through 2031. He will be 40 years old in 2031. The years between now and then are not guaranteed to be what the last 5 have been. The body ages, the bat speed slows, the reflexes are still elite, and then one day they are not as elite as they were, and the whole thing shifts in a direction that no amount of work ethic reverses. That is the reality of athletic aging. And the Yankees, who have won 27 championships but none since 2009, and Aaron Judge, who has won 3 MVPs but 0 championships, are in the same position, running out of time to fill the empty spot on that wall, chasing it together. He went 0 for 5 on opening day. The Yankees won 7-0, and Aaron Judge went home to a hotel room in San Francisco and thought about the wall. Still pissed, still chasing. One game into a season that starts like every season in New York starts, with the full weight of 27 championships and one empty spot sitting on every at-bat, every game, every month between now and October. That's what he said. That's what he meant. And that's exactly why when Garrett Cole returns in late May and the rotation is complete and the lineup is hitting and Anthony Volpe is back at shortstop where he belongs, that version of the 2026 New York Yankees is going to be the most dangerous team in the American League. Not because they have the best roster on paper, because they have a captain who is still pissed and a wall with an empty spot past '09, and nothing else is going to be enough. All reporting sourced from Fox News Digital's Judge Durant boardroom interview, Yahoo Sports, Heavy.com, Yardbarker, AM New York, Total Pro Sports, MLB.com official February offseason interview with Judge, WFAN's Craig Carton via Heavy.com, ESPN Insights opening day data, and official MLB box score data. All quotes are verbatim from confirmed public statements and broadcast appearances. Confirmed as of March 26, 2026.